It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's our goal. Hey, it's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Breaking Bread with Tom Papa, your one-stop shop for all things comedy and food. That sounds like a slogan of some sort. Comedy and food, all the good things in life. You know what we do here. We've got a great guest today. We have Chris Porter, a very funny comedian. He's really funny. He's got a new special out on YouTube right now called There's No Money in Babies. It's really good. It's really insightful. He's got a great style and a great guy. And I ran into him at the airport. I'll tell more about the story when we get into it. He's one of those guys who I just run into on the road all the time because he's always out there running around, killing it, and happy to have him on the program today. My new book, we're all in this together, so make some room. Look at that. This is called the Galley Copy, Advanced Reader Copy. It's available for pre-order right now. If you order it, and I hope you do, all you have to do is go to Amazon or wherever you find your books, and you pre-order. I'm trying to make a run and get some healthy response so we can make the New York Times bestseller list. That is my goal. This is the third book I've written. I think you're really going to like it. We've gotten some good reviews already. It's we're all in this together, so make some room. You can go to tompapa.com, look that up. And also you can, while you're there, you'll see all of our new tour dates. We're coming to Newark, New Jersey at the Performing Arts Center. Huge show. We're going to be in Atlantic City. We're going to be in Cleveland. We're going to be in Cincinnati. We've got San Francisco. We've got St. Paul. We're everywhere. We've added a whole bunch of great theaters, great dates. So while you're at tompapa.com, you can look up all that good stuff. All right, this is a big, healthy dose of Chris Porter. So let's jump right in because I don't want to step on the stories that I want to tell you about me and Chris and what just happened. So enjoy Chris Porter. Oh, geez, we already started.
That was a good organic beginning. Yeah. We didn't even know.
We didn't even get into it. How crazy was that flight on Sunday? That was so funny.
Did you see my tweet?
No.
I thought of the tweet beforehand, but I didn't want to jinx us. But after we got off the plane, I was like, I was on a flight with D.L. Hughley, Cedric the Entertainer, Maz Jobrani, and Tom Papa. I said, if that plane would have been down, I for sure would have been in the and others. You know, no way. I would have featured my own death.
Start walking on, and this is perfect that you're here, by the way. And your special's hilarious. Let me start because we're going to go off into the weeds for a minute.
Okay.
But your special's so good.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
What's the name of it again?
There's No Money in Babies.
There's No Money in Babies. It's so good. I have so many things to talk about about the special, but everyone's got to go watch it. Done. So we're at American Airlines in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right. And it's early in the morning, the first flight out kind of thing. And you and I are just, and I think this is the third time I've run into you at an airport, early morning, going somewhere, something
for sure.
Coming off the thing. Which is, you run into somebody once in a while, but that we have three is pretty funny.
There's a couple of like American Airlines guys. Yeah. It's right. Like me, you, Guy Torrey, Brad Williams, and DL.
Right. And so I just got bumped up to Concierge Key, which is like the highest.
That's like, yeah.
American Airlines, you have to be invited to it. I've been pining for it for years, and I just got it. So that was my second flight ever with it. And
they like drive you around in a cart and stuff, and like someone comes and meets you.
Someone can meet you. Someone will, like, if you have a connecting, they'll pick you up, bring you outside to a car, and drive you to the other thing. I haven't had that yet. I went to go to the lounge, and I said, my pal Joey's didn't have TSA pre, so he's coming through. Can he come meet here? And she goes, yeah, but your Concierge Key. You should go to the flagship lounge over by your gate. It's very fancy. I was like, well, of course I should.
Yeah, of course I should. Yeah,
so I go over there, and Then I text Joe. Joey's over there, and I told him to come. And it was I almost got kicked out of Concierge Key because he doesn't travel a lot.
Yeah.
And he walks into the flagship lounge where I arranged for his name and everything with a bag of McDonald's.
Yeah. Because if you think the Admirals Clubs, because I've been on the flagship lounge a couple of times.
Yeah.
That's full on like it's 1987. Like it's full on like the way it should be.
Right.
Like everyone's
Classy.
dressed up. People are smoking. Like it's nuts. Yeah.
Everyone's in like the women all have like those like
It's like a scene from Mad Men.
yeah, like those Republican haircuts. You know what I mean? Those bouffant kind of things. And he walks in. I was like, oh, you're gonna get me kicked out of Concierge Key. And then he wouldn't eat it. I'm like, what are you doing? You gotta get it. He's like, what do I do? I said, eat it just eat it quickly before the rich people smell it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I excuse myself from you because I have to board Concierge Key because I say,
Yeah.
I'll see you on the flight.
Class welfare.
So then there's a guy in front of me. And I'm like, who is in front of me? I should be the first guy on the plane. And it's a guy, I think he had a mask and glasses and a hat. And he's walking, I think, a St. Bernard.
It's one of the most large, but also most beautiful dogs I've ever seen.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
But big. Like, he's at waist height.
Yeah.
Almost
as big as him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait a minute. DL? And he turns, Tom, it's DL Hughley getting on with a giant Bigfoot.
Everywhere. Every time I see DL on a flight, he has that dog.
That's so funny.
As a matter of fact, that's how I know it's DL behind the mask. Is because of that dog. I don't know DL. I know the dog.
So he slides into the bulkhead.
Yeah.
And we have a laugh. And then I'm unloading at my seat. And then you come on. And it's like, okay, so now we got 3 comics.
Yeah.
And then as you're finding your seat, Maz Jobrani walks on. We're like, is this like every comedian in the world? And then, of course, the capper, Cedric the Entertainer, comes on.
Yeah.
In full regalia.
Full St. Louis, hi, I'm Cedric. He might as well have had a name tag that said Cedric. Like he was full on.
Red tracksuit.
Yeah.
Cardinals hat. Just like, just glowing.
And everyone knew him.
Everyone, knew him. He knew him. He sang hi to everybody.
Dude, and what a nice guy. To like every guy that walked on was just like, you're the best. And he was like, oh, thanks, man. I appreciate you watching. Go Cardinals.
Yeah,
you know.
He was great. It was so cool. So we're literally sitting within 4 rows. We have 5 comedians.
I think I counted there were 8 seats in first class and 5 of them were comics.
So great.
So yeah.
And there's such a funny thing we're immediately, 6-year-olds. Just like everyone's just talking loud. Like we weren't doing bits or anything, but everybody was making each other laugh for a minute.
Yeah.
Making each other laugh, loud, inappropriate. It's like these are the kids that get kicked out of class.
And they're like, oh, do y'all work together? And they're like, no, I haven't seen this dude in 4 months. What up?
Now that's the thing I couldn't piece together because DL and Cedric, they have all that history.
Yeah.
Were they working together that weekend on something?
No,
or was that coincidence?
Cedric was coming from Milwaukee, he said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Maz was coming from Madison.
Right.
You were in Chicago. I was coming from Lexington. I don't remember where DL was.
Right.
I don't think he ever said.
He was very quiet up front with his dog.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be associated with the rest of us yelling.
No.
He's like, I like you guys, but
yeah, no, I'm gonna sit back here with my dog. Yes. Dog gets worked up sometimes.
Yeah, so funny. How was Lexington?
Lexington was great.
Yeah.
It's strange to have such an amazing club in a town that you would never think would have that.
Right.
And comedy off Broadway, has always been that.
Yeah.
And it's one of the gigs that you look forward to going to.
Yeah.
So, and I did Nashville right before then. I got to do the Ryman.
Oh, you did?
With the Kid Rock Comedy Jam.
What's that?
They do it part of the Nashville Comedy Festival. It's the first year Kid Rock hosted it, like he came on, and this time he literally did a song and then sat off to the side of the stage where like most of the people could just see him.
Oh, that's cool.
And he just sits back there. He kind of curates who comes.
Right.
He's been a big supporter of mine for, I don't know, almost 10 years now at this point. And so, I did his cruise.
Right. He has a cruise.
He had a cruise. Like, I did 10 years of that. We're good. But I did the cruise, and then one year he didn't want to be on a boat, so we did it in the Dominican at the Hard Rock, which, like literally weeks later was when they had the big poisoning scandal down at the Dominican.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's because the Kid Rock cruise drank the island out of liquor, and they just had to come up with something because it was all bootleg liquor.
Is it? Yeah,
it was
crazy,
insane. I remember it was all inclusive, and I got in after I was the last person on the property,
right?
And I know that because Kid Rock was on stage when I got there, and so after the Kid Rock show, I go and hang out with everybody, and then come back to my room about, I want to say it was about 2, and I ordered room service, and they go, it's gonna be about 90 minutes, and I was like, I think I can make that.
Too.
And so like 3:30 rolls around, I hide no hair of them. So about 4, I go to bed. At 6:30, there's a knock on my door. Or no, there's a phone call, and they go, Mr. Porter, your room service that you ordered is at your door. And I go, and I look at the clock. I go, I ordered that 4.5 hours ago. And they go, yes, sir. And these 2 dudes walked in. They looked like they'd been to war. Like they were just shaking. And you could just tell they'd been dealing with drunk, entitled rednecks for 4.5 hours. And because like this is their big, this is their big deal. And not only that, everything's free. Right. Like, they just ordered 8 of everything, and they're like just laying in a bed of wings probably. Right. And these dudes walked in, and the sandwich was hot. Like it was obvious they had just been
4
inundated.
hours late.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I didn't know he did that. I didn't know he had a comedy thing.
And so he did it. He started it last year as part of the Nashville Comedy Festival, and we did that. It was, I think, the only 2 that returned from last year were me and Big J Okerson.
Oh,
and then
that's cool because it's just Big J was just here, and Kid has he's very vocal.
Yes.
In his
opinions. Yep.
But you guys don't match that.
No, but I will tell you this, like, trust me, when the way I met Bob was they booked me on the comedy, the cruise.
Right.
And I didn't know him from, I was never a huge fan of his or anything. Yeah. And so my idea was like, I'll go do this cruise. Worst comes to worst, I'll write an article.
Right.
And then I got on there, and you just realize it's a bunch of bougie-ass rednecks who have a lot of money, and they love to be on this cruise, and they get to hang out. And Bob, Kid Rock, hangs out. Like, he goes up. He's like the first concert when you leave port, and he says, hey, I'm going to be hanging out until you get weird. And if you get weird, I got to split. So just act like I'm a person. I'll act like you're a person. We'll all hang out. We'll have a good time. And that's pretty much how it went. And
I was a fan. I hosted, I was one of the hosts of Woodstock 99.
No way.
Like the bad one that went, off the rails.
Were you in the documentary?
Very briefly.
Oh, okay.
And it was insane. It was great fun. Then it got everything that you see. It was great fun, and then got weird, and then got really weird. And they asked for some comics out of New York, and I'd only been doing it for 6 years. And me and Rich Voss went up there, and there were a couple stages, and I was on the big stage, and I'm bringing acts up, like, intermittently. Like, I started with James Brown in the very beginning, and got to bring out Wyclef, and then, but everything was Kid Rock.
Did you, now hold on, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Did you get to do like the classic MC thing where you go up to James Brown and go, how do you want me to bring you up?
No, they were like, how are we going to start this thing?
Oh, okay.
And James Brown is in like a jumpsuit. I think it was purple or blue. And he's just standing stoically with his arms back a little bit and in full James Brown. And this place is going insane. He's the first act.
Yeah.
And the guys who were promoting it, like, someone go out and someone say something. And I went out and I like said a little something, and they were like, at 100,000 people, the most insane energy, I mean, just dealing with any crowd.
Yeah.
100,000 people was batshit crazy. It was insane. But the whole thing was building up. It was, Kid Rock his album had been out. It was catching.
Yeah.
And he was going to come and hit the stage, and this was going to be, everyone just knew,
Yeah.
preordained, this is Kid Rock's moment. And when you ask if I'm in the documentary, one of the places that I freeze frame, you could see it on YouTube. I bring up Wyclef, you get like a good piece of me.
Yeah.
If you bring up the Kid Rock at Woodstock, there's a curtain where Kid Rock comes out, and I'm standing right next to the entrance of the curtain in like this Hawaiian shirt, and I'm just standing there like this. And he just blows past me in his fur coat, and his cane, and all of it. Oh man, but I love that album, and the band was so cool. The drummer was great. Everything was just great, and he completely scored. Like he did exactly what everyone was waiting for him to do, which was explode. And it was really, really insanely great. Now, over time, everyone has their political views, whatever you got, you know. I just don't understand the like FU.
Yeah.
Part of it. Like I get not being told and the freedom of it. Like I love that part.
The FU thing has always kind of been his shtick. Like he's always had a middle finger up.
That's true.
And let me say this about
that is true.
Robert Ritchie, my friend Bobby.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. Like he doesn't talk politics when you're hanging out. Like that dude, he'll FaceTime Donald Trump, and in 2 minutes later we'll FaceTime Rev Run. Like he's friends with everyone. He's he recently hung out with Kanye. Like the man himself is friends with everyone, and is a genuinely lovable person. Kid Rock loves to be, and I say this all the time, the finger in the butthole of America. Because some people love it. A lot of people hate it. Some people love it and don't like to admit it.
Yeah.
And so he does like to stir the pot. He knows he has an army. You know, with the last Bud Light stuff, like I didn't understand it, but we all have a friend or a family member that we don't agree with, that we are like, why are you saying these ridiculous things?
What was his thing with the Bud Light?
It was the trans thing. And it was just like, he shot up a bunch of Bud Light cans. Basically, I don't think it was so much, and again, I'm not speaking for the man. But from the man that I know, I don't think he was speaking so much against trans people as much as being told how to think by a beer company. But again, I'm a guy that realizes that trans people are just people trying to fit into their own skin. Yeah. And but
it's just so weird because he, like you say, he doesn't talk politics and he's not that guy, and he doesn't have to be that guy. Like he would. I don't understand the
here's what I'll say, and you don't understand why he does it kind of thing.
Yeah, I was all in on Kid Rock. Like it was so much fun and so cool, and that FU, like we're all in this together, like, you know, screw the man kind of thing. Cool. But then like taking these kind of like difficult positions on things that are that is kind of like a crass FU. Yeah. In that like I just want him to be Kid Rock fun. Yeah. I guess is what I'm selfishly saying.
So what I think Kid Rock learned a long time ago, and again, I'm speaking about the character, the guy everyone knows from the internet. He learned that bad press is good press, and any press is good press, really. And so it's like, I even texted him afterwards, like, hey man, what's this? What is this? Like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just stirring the pot. Like he's just, and here's what it does. It gets him trending, gets everyone mad at him. Listen, Kid Rock's not changing anyone's mind about trans stuff or anything. Yeah. You either believe one way, and if you're on the fence about it, you're definitely not going to Kid Rock for your deciding vote. No. So, and that's what I tell my more progressive friends. It's like, the people that are up in arms about it are going to be up in arms about it, but no one's changing their mind because of this video. And Bob knows that. Yeah. And so, but what it does is it gets his name trending and blah, blah, blah. And now his fans may not have been listening to Kid Rock for a while. You know, just I love the Rolling Stones. There are
Right.
months that go on where I don't listen to them.
Right.
But then I hear a Stones song and now I go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
And
right.
now Bob's Spotify spins come up.
Right.
And so it's just he laughs all the way to the bank with all this
Yeah.
stuff because now
Yeah.
all his shows are selling out. And again, he hasn't changed anyone's mind. Now the big fear I presented it to him was, aren't you afraid of someone shooting up a gay club in a Kid Rock t-shirt? And he's, he didn't really respond to that.
Yeah.
And
that is the thing. When your fans are so passionate,
yeah,
and it just takes somebody off,
Yeah.
feeling that like that's
I
when it
think
gets weird. That's when it gets weird.
but I also think Bob, for better or worse, has faith that his fans aren't that evil.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, you can celebrate stuff without saying F you to certain groups. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I just as a dad
Yeah.
walking around a tourist spot, I don't need to see guys with F you Biden shirts.
Oh yeah, no,
I don't need to see it.
For sure.
I think it's brought just everyday
Yeah.
hanging out to this crass, like disgusting level.
And please don't take my explanation of my friend's actions
No,
as a defense.
Look, I have friends too that are complicated in
Yeah.
the same ways. And it is complicated because you know the person,
Yeah.
and then you see what they're doing out in the media, and it is complex because at the heart, people.
Yeah.
But it's just that anything that ramps up the vitriol, especially American to American,
Yeah.
in the culture, that's when I want them to pump the brakes.
And I'm
You know what I
100%
mean?
on your side with
We're
that.
not.
Yeah.
We're against each other politically or on an issue or whatever you got. Cool.
Yeah.
The cancer that we're fighting against, I think, right now, over the last maybe 6 years, is calling our brothers the enemy.
Yes.
That's new.
For sure. And I think, along with people like my friend on both sides,
Yeah.
but probably more towards this side, is I think the 24-hour news cycle, I think, is what is a huge contributor to this. And
That's a big part.
And it's because it's like, hey, man, the news takes about 15 minutes to tell.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, you're just telling us how to feel about it.
100%.
And I think that's what's I think has occurred lately.
When Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson went down on the same morning,
Yeah.
it was like my shoulders like relaxed.
100%. Because they are the same guy on both sides.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just-
on either side. Yeah.
Just eye rolling, putting opinion into news,
Yeah.
ginning up their anger. You have a great, and this is a good segue. This is why I'm hosting this show. You have a great bit about politics being, what do you say, college sports now?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
say
yeah.
your sports, like you get your team.
Everybody's got a team.
Everyone's got their team, and it's not about thinking things through.
No.
It's just your. What do you say? Because I was thinking about this concept and I couldn't really articulate it. But you said
Everybody's
something
got
about
a team. Everybody's got a T-shirt.
Right.
And you're kind of yelling the same things.
and your friends on politics. You're like, your friends aren't. Oh, with high school, right? When you say that you didn't. My friends don't have your friends don't have the answers.
Yeah. Oh, you barely.
In
No,
politics,
I
your
say
friend-
you don't have the answers. You barely got out of high school.
When they gave you the answers.
When they gave, because that's what high school was. Monday through Thursday, here are the answers, and then Friday, you tell us the answers.
right.
And 60% of you were like, duh.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're not. So why would you turn to those same people and be like, so what are your thoughts on immigration?
Well, I mean, and Facebook is such a great tool for that because, like,
Yeah.
you're Facebook friends with all your high school buddies.
Yeah.
And you know how dumb they were in high school. And then you get on there and they're the ones that are like, let me tell you how it should be. And you're like, you didn't even know how it was. So, yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
and I'm from the like rural suburbs of Kansas City. Like I didn't have a
Right.
farm, but many of my friends did.
Yeah.
So I'm very much on that cusp of Look, man, fiscally, I'm pretty conservative. I feel like no matter what your color is, you shouldn't be shot by the cops for no reason.
Yeah.
And, but I have a lot of friends that just, I'd say 80% of the people I went to high school with still probably live in the district or at least in the league that we grew up in.
Right.
And
yeah.
So, you know, I haven't seen a lot.
Yeah. And look, it's gotten so cable news is a big part of it.
Yeah.
The leaders are exploiting it.
The internet is
making it so bad.
Yeah.
To be able to vilify people and make them like the mortal enemy. Like
the funniest
God.
moment on a flight, maybe in the last 3 years, is I was sitting up front and, you know, it's 6 a.m. and I'm sitting on the flight and this old white man's talking to this young black girl, but, you know, 25, 26, and they're just talking about the news. And they're both talking about how they're like, oh, I can't, just the vitriol and the opinions, I can't deal with it. And this old white man goes, I finally found a news place that just tells it like it is. There's no opinions. It's on the internet. It's called Newsmax. And like the entire cabin just like turned around and like the captain stuck his head out of the cockpit like, what did you just say? Yeah. Like all this
DL's dog barked.
Yeah. All of a sudden the airplane has a mechanical failure. Like, all the lights come on. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't think I don't know. I don't see a way out of it because people are just, it's given them identity. It's given, and that's the problem. It's like our identity wasn't that before. Like, you know, It wasn't, politics was something you didn't even talk about with your friends and family. Like it was politics and religion.
And if
we're
you
not going to talk about that because it's too sticky.
Yeah.
And now we're leading with it and making T-shirts about it.
Or just
it's so
cold
unhealthy.
opening with it. You'll be at dinner and like, fucking Biden or whatever, and you're just like, man, we didn't even order apps yet.
Right, here it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on no information, just based on propaganda.
But you also got to hope that it's cyclical because, I mean, there was definitely a time in the early 1900s of like yellow journalism. Mm-hmm. Like there's definitely been times where the press has gone nuts and we kind of reeled them back in. And, you know, before, what was it, 85, 86, there was a law that said, you know, if you have to tell both sides of the story. And then we got rid of that. News became commercialized.
Because of cable. Cable doesn't have to do that.
And so, you know, eventually it's like, do cooler heads prevail? And we go, hey, we need to do this for our own sanity? Or do we just keep going off until...
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you have to get over, like a generation has to get to a point where you're just like, I'm not doing that anymore.
You're all in the same spot. You're on the same team ultimately.
Yeah.
So like, why would you, like, we want to make all of this better and easier. We don't want this to be more hassle.
Well, and it's not even, it's not only that, but it's like, oh, the Russians are hacking you. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, but they're not hacking you? No, not ever. Right. They've never, they're not giving us any false information. Right. Just you. But also, did you hear Biden's an alien? Like, exactly. You know, you're just like, you have to have some semblance of, here's what I think is missing from us as a country is the acceptance of the fact that you could be wrong. Mm-hmm. Just no one believes that anymore. Yeah. There's no possibility they're wrong.
When you hear somebody say, "Oh, yeah, good point. I guess I was wrong." It's actually like, "Whoa,
yeah, you just became my friend."
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
As opposed to a lot of people, you can corner them and they'll just pivot the argument, and you're like, "Well, that's not even what we were talking about." Right. You just try to slither away like a salamander.
I love your joke about the vaccine, about you're like, whatever, you're into it, you got problems with it.
Yeah.
It's all worth talking about. But they're not chipping us.
Yeah.
They're not putting the chip because you've already been chipped.
Yeah, it's your phone.
It's your phone. And what do you say? You buy a case for your chip.
Yeah.
It's such a great line. It's really
Thanks,
true.
Man. Yeah.
Voluntarily chipped up.
Yeah.
Everything about you, your purchasing power, your location, your interactions, your secrets with your friends and family.
We've given it all up for convenience.
All of it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You didn't have to have a vaccine.
But also, I have, like, we all make fun of it, but I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, take all of my information. Like, I'm literally, pot's legal now. You got nothing on me, Holmes.
Right, exactly.
Like, I'm paid up. I got no debt. Like, here we go.
Yeah, you took the one thing I was sneaking around doing.
I just want to
and
be able
made
to
it
pay
legal.
with my watch.
Right.
Yeah.
I still have hesitation with the tapping my credit card. For some reason, it's like,
Oh, I see. Now, for some reason, and I might be ignorant, I feel like that's safer.
oh, it's safer. I'm just incompetent in doing it. I totally spaz dad out. I'm just hitting it, and it's not taking, and the girl's rolling her eyes, and I just, for some reason, that activity, I have no confidence in.
Once I get in the airport, I'm all Apple Watch.
You are.
I like beep, beep, beep.
Really? Boarding pass?
Pay stuff, boarding pass, Admiral's Club.
For real?
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Really?
Yeah.
I should do it.
Dude, the only time it sucks is when they have the one that's like is over and under. That one you have to use your phone for.
Right.
But if it's just the flat one, beep.
Poop.
Yeah.
Buying stuff at Hudson News.
Yeah. Put your Amex on there and just bonk.
Really?
Yeah, buddy.
That's a nice watch. What are you wearing?
This is a tag. That was that was my third place finish on Last Comic Standing reward to myself.
Nice. That's great.
So
do you like watches?
I do. This is the only nice one I have.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's because it's quality. Like, it looks classy. It doesn't look like ostentatious or.
Yeah, I wanted to get one that was like classic.
Yeah, it is.
Just kind of evergreen. Mainly because I knew I probably wasn't going to be able to afford another one for quite some time.
It's so funny. My one nice watch is an IWC.
Okay.
And I got it for like some TV thing, like a show that I got. And and I was like, have I been too stingy with myself? I feel like I've achieved things since then.
Yeah.
Can I get another watch?
Yeah, I was at like a used Rolex place, and I was like, you should own property before you get another one of these. And I literally put my hands up, like I'm not even going to touch them anymore. Right. Like I need to. After I talk to the real estate guy, and
then I'll do it.
Then yeah,
you took third in Last Comic. What year was that?
That was 2006.
2006.
I moved out here in 2005.
Wow.
And
Kansas?
From Kansas. Got on TV in 2006. Was like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
This is so easy. Yeah. And then there was the reckoning.
The reckoning.
Yeah.
Who was hosting it?
Anthony. It was the 1 year Anthony Clark did it.
Oh, cool.
And
I remember that.
yeah, he was a wild
Anthony
card.
Clark? I haven't heard that name in a long time.
He got into real estate and other things, and
he was so funny.
He was very funny.
He was really.
He was a loose canyon. He was a loose canyon,
yeah,
which are the worst kind of canyons.
Those canyons are the worst.
He was a loose cannon.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever hung out at the Improv in the late 2000s, but him and Swartzen would just tear that place apart.
Right.
Like they were like Norman.
Yeah.
Norman. Who's the other one? Cliff on Cheers.
Right.
You just walk in. They were there every night.
Hammered. Yeah, I do remember.
You're like, it is 5:30.
Yeah.
We're just here to set up. They're just already there.
I do remember that. I remember there was a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
But he got an early TV show, and he was just so naturally funny, and so he's out of the game.
I've seen hide nor hair of him, and I would say 10 years easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was hosting.
Gabriel, it was the year Gabriel Iglesias was on it. Josh Blue won it.
Oh, nice.
And and I just remember going, oh, Gabriel's, I made it to the house.
Yeah.
And it was very much like I just happy to be here kind of situation. I mean, I was a feature act on the road.
Wow.
And I was that, and I'm sure you were there too, where you were that feature act. And they're like, we'd headline you, but there's no reason for people to come see you.
Right. They just don't know you yet.
Yeah. And so, that kind of got me on that, headlining train. And
That's good.
But yeah, so it was. But yeah, I remember being in the house looking at Gabe, just being like, "Wow, maybe third. Maybe I can get third." And then Gabriel got ejected or removed because he was using his cell phone.
Oh, right.
And I just remember me, Josh Blue, and Ty Barnett had this like weird like casino-esque meeting in the bathroom where we literally, because we're all mic'd. And so we all had like the water on and we're like flushing the toilets. And we're like, what's happening? What's going on? He's like, they called me on my phone. I was talking to my girl. They think I was talking to writers. And we're like, that's bullshit.
Wow.
And
talking to writers.
yeah. And we're like, Gabe doesn't have to call writers. He's one of the most naturally funny people on the planet. And so they let him go. And then Josh Blue. We all thought we had a chance. And then I remember the first live show, there were 5 of us, the finals. And they did the opening announcements. And, like, they said Chris Porter, and, like, the crowd went nuts. And I was like, yeah. Wow. And when they said Josh Blue's name, I thought the roof was going to come down.
Really?
It was. In that moment, you're like, oh, okay, we're all playing for second.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, interesting. It's a good crew. It's a nice crew that's still working.
Yeah, it's a great crew. And I'll tell you what, our group were one of the few that got along. Mm-hmm. Like season 5 and 6, I don't think, I know Eliza and Jeff Dye still hate each other.
Oh, really?
Or maybe they've gotten over it since then.
Sense.
But like we would like have a big group hug before the, because we all kind of, we all knew it's like, we can't play defense.
Right.
Just go out there and have a good time. But also, if you could suck a little bit, that'd be pretty cool.
Right, exactly. Well, that was the upsetting part of the show was like you're taking the art that we're involved in and making it a contest and pitting us against each other. Like that part is like, all right, this could get ugly, and why are you doing that? And knowing the producers were manipulating it somewhat. Like, that part, it's like it pokes at the purity of what we do. For sure. So, but ultimately, it was good for everybody involved. Yeah, it was good for the art. It was. Just because it was like, oh, right, stand-up comedy. Yeah, exactly. On network. Yeah. Got people back. It's been a beat since they've had it. Yeah, I mean, I think it was one of those things it was mishandled so many times. I genuinely think our season's one of the few seasons they got right, where it was just kind of like none of the challenges were ridiculous. Yeah, they were all pretty great, and all very stand-up oriented. And then like later, I remember one season they had 2-hour episodes. Oh, wow! And you're just like. Yeah. Like I'm a comic, I don't know, and I know these people, and I'm still bored. And they're in boxing gloves, and they're doing, and I'm like, this doesn't. Someone let an intern write or something, and but yeah, so you hope it would get in the right hands and maybe make a comeback or some facet of it. They always try to make it American Idol towards the end, and you're like that. It'll never be that. No, exactly. Because in music, you can operate in every emotion. I know. Comedy's anger, frustration. That's kind of it. And pay and always for the laugh. Yeah. Always for the laugh. There's no story. Yeah. We're all kind of miserable. Do you ever feel like stretching out and going for something other than the laugh, or are you? So I do I've been starting to do, one of my best friends is a guitarist for Shinedown. His name is Zach Myers. Oh, nice. And, I play a lot of music on the side. Oh, you do? And so we've been. You guitarist too? Yeah. And I can sing all right. Nice. And so we've been doing a thing. We've done it twice called the Campfire Astronauts, where it's him and I telling stories. He does a little stand-up. I do a little stand-up. But we just kind of bill it as a night in our living room. It's just kind of a hangout sesh. Cool. But we play covers. So we've been doing a lot of that, and that's been really good for my soul. Yeah. So I've been enjoying branching out, and like it's also a stage I'm incredibly uncomfortable on. So it's like it's fun to be on that stage and be like, don't look up. This sucks. Yeah. Because this is really scary. Yeah. But then when you get the moments at work, you're like, this is what we're doing. Right. And And is it mostly for expressing yourself in a different way or for a different result?
It's expressing myself in a different way and for a different result. Like, I really feel like the Chris Porter stand-up guy is not a complete representation of Chris Porter the person, nor should it be. You know, that's not really what we're up there for. You know, there are stand-ups that are, and Steve Simone's like the best at that. Like,
right.
Like you watch him, and not only you're laughing, you're kind of falling in love with this dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, like even on this, I think on the last special, I say like, this is an extension of me. This isn't me off stage. Off stage, I'm a pretty happy guy. I'm not this angry normally. And so when on, the Campfire Astronauts is more me. Right. It's more just like the happy-go-lucky, like here's me telling stories.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I can kind of, we sit down for that. And so then when I go to stand up for those shows, like I stand up and it's kind of like, okay, now I'm back into the Chris Porter that you know. Right. And then now here's Desperado.
Yeah.
So
how close do you think? Because I don't find your comedy, it's more angsty than angry.
Yeah.
Like you don't have like a real like rage. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like
it can get there.
Like, yeah. Like when you're going off, it's all super funny, but when you're going off, it's, I think you see your essence more than you hear the words.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Which I think comedians at their best, you kind of get that feeling as soon as they get up to the stage, you kind of know who they are in a way.
Yeah, the really good ones.
And I think I think it just comes from years of doing it and being so comfortable that you're no longer this different entity walking up there. You may not be showing them everything, but you're not guarded like when we start.
Oh yeah,
right.
Which is and it's funny it's hard to teach young when young comics are like, oh, I'm so nervous, and you're like, well, for us it's just so easy. You're like, well, don't be
right.
Like just relax. Like that doesn't matter. Like if you eat it still, that's what I tell them. Like, even if you have the best set of your life tonight at Bar Lubitsch, like nothing happens.
Right.
So maybe go in with that, and then that never works. By the way, it just makes it worse.
Right.
But then you just start to realize you're like, oh, maybe I'm not a great coach.
Right. But it's true. I mean, ultimately, the only thing that's happening is you're getting a little better.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
And the
experience you're gonna learn a little something tonight.
And the more you do it, the less you give a shit. I think as far as like what the end result's gonna be, because once you fail enough, you realize that it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it sucks while it's happening. Right, but eventually you'll probably learn more from that set than you'll learn from 10 really good ones. Right,
exactly.
So
you have such funny stuff in the special about your parents. How old were your parents when?
24.
They were 24.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you mentioned it in there or I missed it, but just their attitude, I was like, oh, they're young folks. They're young. They have them young. Because all that stuff about kind of juxtaposed against parents now who it's kid first.
Oh yeah,
and every activity, the whole family schedule is just on Timmy's little league schedule.
That was not my parents.
Not your parents, and your parents just being honest and tired. And I'm not Chris.
No,
I'm not doing any of that.
No, I have plans.
Right.
I'm not gonna make that. You should have told me earlier. I would have. But we're going to the lake. Like my parents went on a bunch of vacations without me. Like that's unheard of now.
Right.
Like you go to vacation and my parents. Most of the vacations were without me. But and looking back on it, you're like, of course.
Yeah, they're 26.
Yeah, go. Go have fun. And I think that's also why me and my parents still are like best friends.
Right. Is
because they were always parents first, friends second, but also protective of their lives.
Yeah.
They're like, you're my kid, but
they took care of their happiness.
Yeah, I've got friends. It's like the line in the, I have friends and they were here before you.
Right. I love that line.
Yeah.
It's really true. They were here before you.
And my dad was very much, my dad until I was 35, if he reached for a glass in the center,
Oh, really?
yeah, if he raised, and it was just, that's,
Yeah. Oh, I love when you talk about about you see all these parents out there who are traveling with their kids on the
travel ball teams,
the travel ball teams and gymnastics teams and all that. And when you said, I know you're out there because I stay in the same hotels as you.
Yeah.
We were just in Grand Rapids, and it was us and 700 gymnastics or dance.
Oh, but they're equal. Those three are the equal because not only that, and the moms, the dads that are just beaten. The dads could nothing there for their dads.
Nothing there for the dads. The moms are drunk. The dads are drunk.
Yeah.
I was in another one in Pittsburgh, and the moms came in. I was just getting a bite to eat, and at the bar, and it's packed. The bar was the only place to sit, and these moms came in, and I mean, like gunslingers, shots, Chardonnays. By the time I was done eating a burger, they had like 6 drinks in them.
Yeah, well, they had to get back
just to deal with these tournaments.
Could you imagine me these umpires at these any sort of official at these events?
Oh my God.
Where these parents have been drinking for 3 days.
I know.
And it's the 7th week in a row. They're tired of everybody.
These girls have just their hair's tight.
Oh.
And their makeup
and
on.
Everyone's over it. The kids don't want to do it anymore. The parents don't want to do it anymore, but they're $4,000 in at this point, so they just have to.
And you can't get on the elevator to get to your damn gig.
And they're all looking at you because you smell like pot, like you're the problem. Like, no, man, we're in a hotel. This isn't a dorm.
Oh, God, it was so funny. It's really been a rash of that.
Oh. Well, we're getting into summer now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be real bad. Like I started taking July off.
You did?
Yeah, just because
That's smart.
I go pretty hard in the paint.
Yeah.
As far as I probably do like 40 weeks a year most years.
Yeah.
And I feel like regular people work 50.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And the fact that I get to do 3 nights a week at an hour a clip.
Yeah.
Like I just might as well put in the work.
Yeah. 100%.
But also, it hurts a lot. Just you start to wear down, and but then July, especially late June, July, people are out. It's hard to get people inside. You don't even want to be inside.
No, you're right. It's by like late summer, they've done all the outside.
They've done all the outside stuff. The travel ball's starting to wind down,
Yeah.
and it's starting to get hot enough to where they don't want to be outside.
Right.
So
yeah, that's right.
I've started doing that.
That's smart.
It's really kind of helped my mental health.
Yeah, that is good.
Although
Now, what happens when they call and they're like, Chris, I got a gig, July 15th, pays such and such.
You'd have to pay like 3 times my normal quote.
All right, good for you.
Like I have a number,
Yeah.
but you're gonna have to pay a lot. Yeah.
Like, well, that's good.
But even this year, it was supposed to be from mid-June to mid-July, but my agent's like, can you just go third week to third week because we already have this thing? And I'm like, yeah. Like I'm not gonna be a dick about it.
Yeah, exactly. I like that you filmed in Portland. I really like that helium in Portland.
All the heliums are great.
I know.
Well, I just think there's been a great expansion of some great clubs, like the Heliums, the guys that do Spokane, Tacoma, they did Bricktown, and anywhere where they have that certain logo, that's their club.
Yeah.
Just it's nice to see. Not that the funny ones and the improvs aren't great, because they are amazing, most of them, but it's just nice to see. It's good to see everybody growing.
Totally. And I have a real fondness for that club because I was going back to that one during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like when they had like 10 tables.
Yeah.
And it got me on a plane and it got me to a city where everyone was saying don't go. And yes, of course you should go. Don't listen. And the people were so great. And then to come back and they had a little more and then now it's regular. it was. I just have a real fondness for those people.
Least favorite place to eat, though. I'll tell you that.
Well, I was thinking about that.
I think I say something about it in the
You
special.
do. You say lunch was tough.
Lunch was tough. Yeah, it's just. Look, man, if there's anything I took from Kansas, it's my palate. Like and I have to explain it to women when we first start dating. Is just like, hey, I'm a pretty straight up vanilla guy.
Yeah.
I don't eat vegetables. That's the one thing you're gonna have a problem with.
Zero vegetables.
Corn, peas, carrots. That's about it. That's about it. And I know corn doesn't even count.
Yeah,
corn's like there's zero nutritional value. You just
call it a vegetable.
Yeah, but it's zero. Peas and carrots, pretty much. And really, cooked carrots you can just F right off with. I have no issue. I want nothing to do. I want raw carrots and I want a bunch of ranch dip.
Broccoli.
Oh, one of the top 5 offenders.
Asparagus.
Also up there. Brussels sprouts is number 1. Green beans. I remember she hates the story. I was on one of our first dates with my girlfriend, and we were driving back from the Malibu Mastros, and she had brought the Brussels sprouts home, and like halfway into the drive, I'm like, and I just kind of give her this look, like, did you just? And then I went, oh, it's the Brussels sprouts. And she goes, did you just think I farted? And I was like, no, of course not. Of course. Never.
When I was a kid, my mother made me eat Brussels sprouts, and I remember throwing them up into my little football garbage can. And it was metal, so like hearing it hit the and I don't think I was like throwing up. I was literally just getting the Brussels sprouts whole out from my intestines out into the can. There's nothing else. It just went in and out.
I remember my mom used to like, however she cooked them, like everyone told me like that's the worst way to cook them as far as smell goes, and it would just fill the house.
Yeah,
and she'd be like, do you want some of these? I was like, I haven't wanted those for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh, so gross. That's so funny. I'm trying to think of another one that you would hate.
I remember my step grandma put onions in the burger, like in the patty, and I was livid.
Threw it in your grandmother's face.
I bit into it. I spit it out, and I was 16, I think, at the time, and I went off on this curse-ridden tirade. Where my mom's like, Chris, because they were pretty cool, like by that point, like with the language. Yeah. But she's like, you need to calm down. I'm like,
you need to calm down.
I think it was like my first stand-up bit, because I'm like, onions at best are 50%. That's a 50% approval rate, and you're just gonna shove them in there. You're just gonna shove them in there, and my dad's crying, laughing, and my mom's trying not to. And I was so mad. And my dad's mom used to do that. She would like try to just hide vegetables in there and not tell me. And as soon as I bit down in it, and now I have this like legit instinctual, like if I bite down, like if I get a quesadilla at Taco Bell, there's like a piece of lettuce in it, and I bite down on that, and it's all like I've Googled it. And they're like, that is from a traumatic childhood experience. And so I'm like, I know exactly what that's from.
I love the idea of you at 16 being so out of your mind that your parents are like, calm down. Just calm down.
Yeah. And these were the same parents that at 7, they had made me this deal in high school. They're like, if you don't drink or do drugs through high school, we'll buy you a car when you graduate. And even as a kid, like you realize, at least I did, I realized high school was a finite experience. At least I hoped it was, because it was a horrifying experience for the most part. Yeah. So I was just not drinking and not doing drugs. And so I worked at Best Buy, and I would come home and I would rent, you'd go to Blockbuster, rent movies, and I had this great sound system in my room. Nice. And I just remember one day, it was a Friday at like 6 o'clock. My parents came in my room. They're like, can we talk to you? I'm like, yeah. It was my junior year. And they go, when we were in high school, your age, we were out every weekend having fun with our friends, like, having a good time. And I was like, well, I want the car. My friends are getting drunk. I've hung out with my friends when they were drunk. They are not fun. They're really stupid. And so I'd rather just hang out here. And then my parents went and had like a sidebar and came back in and they're like, okay, you can drink.
Wow.
But you got to stay at your friend's house. You drink and drive, deal's off. But if you want to go to your friend's house, get drunk, stay at your friend's. We got no problem with that.
Nice.
We just don't want some loser son that ends up,
drugged out and
just
messed up
because he has no friends.
But he also, we don't want him to be a drug addict.
He has a brand new car.
We want him to have at least one friend.
Yeah. So, and I just remember showing up to high school that Monday and being like, it's on, let's go.
Is it Friday?
Is it Friday? I'm drinking Monday. I'm drinking Tuesday. Who's let me stay at their house? Who's got an alcoholic dad I can party with?
Did you like it right away?
It took me a while to figure out what I liked, and I think, like a lot of us do, you drink your way through. Like, I'll never touch vodka again because of high school.
That was a mistake.
I'll never touch rum again because of right after high school.
That's my gin.
Yeah.
Yeah, gin.
I've drank my way to, I only drink at this point, and I don't drink real often.
Yeah.
Is just really nice tequilas.
Yeah, I was just talking about that this morning.
Yeah, like a 1942 or a Clase Azul, like somewhere in that range.
It's amazing how classy tequila has become.
Yeah.
Pretty recently.
Very,
when
like
we
the
were in
pandemic
school,
really hurt that.
Yeah.
Because I was buying bottles of 1942 for 90 and bottles of Clase Azul for 60 when no one knew what was going on.
Right.
When I was the guy, I was the hip guy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you should try this. They're like, what is this?
Smoking jacket.
Yeah.
And a sombrero.
Playing records. Yeah. And now everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
And a lady and I were talking about this the other night. I will 1942 is not as good as it used to be.
Oh,
just
no?
because I think they're making it
So much
such
of it.
massive. And I just don't think you can age it the way you need to or the way the other stuff was.
Right.
But now, I mean, again, that $90 bottle is now 200 some places.
Whoa,
and
really?
a bottle of Clase that was 60 is now equal to that.
Jeez.
And it's just crazy to have watched.
That's crazy.
And now the good thing is you can get them at Costco
Right.
for like a little for
less.
like $130
Right.
if you're lucky. And I look like a giant alcoholic when I'm at Costco because if they have it, I'm just like, what's the limit? and now people show up and they're like, oh, you're the one with all the 1942. And I'm like, you never know when we're gonna have to lock down again.
I've never had it.
It's really good. I akin it to scotch in that the finer stuff you sip with some ice. Some do it neat.
Yeah.
But you don't want to beat it up a whole lot.
Yeah. You're not putting it in a blender.
Yeah. No umbrellas needed.
Right.
Really. And but yeah, and also, it's an easier hangover. I'm not gonna say no hangover, it's an easier hangover. And I guess they say it keeps you skinny because the añejo doesn't have as much sugar.
Oh. Which shows how shitty the tequila was when we were in high school.
Oh yeah.
Because those hangovers were
When you were getting like Sir Greg's tequila.
or just like cheap Cuervo and
Oh yeah. Or everyone's like, oh, when you walk into a place and you're like, do you have good tequila? And they're like, we have Patron. And you're just like, well, I guess I should have known better at a Buffalo Wild Wings. That's on me.
But at the time, I remember that was like the classic one that you would get at the party.
Oh, if you got 1800,
Yeah.
girls were like, oh, he must have gotten a bonus this week.
Right. His dad has money.
Yeah.
But those hangovers were brutal.
Oh, the Captain Morgan hangovers were
Brutal.
the worst.
Yeah.
And I just remember, even in my heavy beer drinking days, in my late 20s, and I talk about this sometimes on stage, the thing to do was like, we thought it was hilarious to just go buy the table a bunch of car bombs, Irish car bombs.
Right.
Which, for those of you that don't know, it's a little bit of Bailey's, a little bit of Jameson. You drop it into half a Guinness and you drink it. It's supposed to taste like chocolate milk. It just tastes like it does.
Right.
And, but
Yeah.
you do that 4 or 5 times a night on top of whatever you're drinking.
Right. Yeah, that's the fun extra.
Yeah. And then you wake up the next morning literally feeling like death.
Yeah.
You're just like, please kill me. Like
You can't
shivering
even
on
breathe.
the floor.
Every breath is more of the alcohol going.
Yes.
And
And they're like, do you want food? And you're like, I don't even want to hear that word. and now I look back at that, and at 44, if you brought me an Irish car bomb, I'd leave.
Right.
I'd be like, oh, we can't hang out. This is a different party.
I was in a cigar bar, the Soho Cigar Bar in New York.
Okay.
It's a great place. And I've been going there for a long time, so the owner who wasn't there heard that we were there and was like being very kind to us. And at the end of the night, like I'm with my buddies, very civilized, scotch, we'd already been out and had some drinks at dinner, like grown up, but drinking.
Yes.
And we've paced ourselves. It's now late. We've had cigar head, scotch face. We're done.
Yeah.
Check, please. And she comes over with a bunch of Jameson shots.
Yeah.
And when you're 20 and someone comes up with like, here's free shots, the owner says we have to have, whoa! And we're like, every one of us, we were going to do it.
Yeah.
'Cause she was cute and they were nice. And we're all holding them just like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I know. This just ruined my tomorrow. This is going to ruin my tomorrow.
I'm going to be, now I'm going to throw up.
Right?
Yeah, I was, we were in Vegas at one of those ridiculous pools. And my buddy has made a lot more money than anyone I know. And we're sitting there, and it's one of those situations where it's just bottles.
Right.
There's no glasses of anything.
Right.
So we get a bottle of Clase Azul, and this little girl comes over, and I say little girl because I'm 44, and she's 22.
Right.
And she walks over, and she was like, who wants shots? And I was like, no. I was like, we don't want shots. I go, I'm 44 years old. I don't do shots. You would have thought I called her the C word. Like, she did not speak to me the rest of the day. I apologized to her later. She was not happy.
Oh, my God.
Because she was like, well, I'll go F myself then. And I was like, wait 20 years, bitch. Get to where I'm at.
I'm not doing shots.
I'm not doing shot. And it's 2. And we're in the sun.
I know. I have a hotel room.
Are you going to carry me out of here?
Yeah. That is probably the dumbest. That's one of the ones. Last time I was in Vegas, I was in my room looking down over that pool.
Yeah.
And the music is, I'm on the 700th floor.
Yeah.
And the music is still poof, poof, poof. And you just look at especially from that height, it looks like just a bunch of germs.
Yes.
Every human's a germ, just on top of each other.
And the horrifying thing is, at one point, you don't want to get in the pool because no one's left the pool. No one's left the pool. But you're like, it's 110 degrees.
Yeah.
If I don't get in that pool for at least a little bit, I'm going to die.
And I'm gonna put my head under.
And you're just like,
yeah. And the heat and the alcohol. This is going to ruin whatever's left of the night.
yeah, it's all bad.
It's
all bad. And the skin diseases I'm going to get from this. The doctor's going to go. They're going to know what pool I was in.
Right.
They're going to go, Wet Republic, huh?
Right.
Every time. Yeah, our host at the MGM was like, please don't get in that pool.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Like, you have access to the mansions.
Right.
Yeah, and my buddy just likes to be around really hot young girls.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're like, all right, dude.
Right.
I'll get sepsis for you. Thanks for flipping the bill.
That is the thing. Like, yeah, there really is that. You just age out of it. It's just a natural aging out of it. You just can't. My nephew got married last summer in New England. And it was a fun party. It was like, real folksy, like outside, kegs and weed, and everyone's having a great time. And they're like, okay, it was the rehearsal or the wedding's over, and they're like, after party at the Airbnb, and everyone's like, woo, all these things. Everyone's 25, and I walked over to them in the parking lot, and I'm like, I felt so bad, and I'm like, guys, I hate to be this guy, but I'm gonna have to pass on the Airbnb. I'm going back to the hotel with my wife, and they looked at me like, you weren't invited to the Airbnb.
You're like,
you old man.
They're like, yeah, we know. We know.
exactly.
100% assume that. As a matter of fact, if you would have shown up,
It would have been weird.
we would have gotten you an Uber back to the hotel.
Right, exactly. And in my head, I'm literally 25
Yeah.
thinking, oh, man, they're all right, I told my wife, I got to let them know.
Yeah.
It's going to ruin the rest of the wedding for
That's
them.
when you want to grab by the thing and go, listen, you little shit, I partied. I partied more than any of you've ever partied.
I know. I was a legend once.
Yeah. I partied so much I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh, it's one of the best jokes of Greg Fitzsimmons' joke when his kid is shitting on him at the table. Everyone's making fun of Dad.
Yeah.
And, and he's there with his whole family, and the kid's just like, Dad's a nerd. Dad, and he just like drops his fork and is like, you little shit, you don't know me. When I was your age, I was high at dinner. I do things to your mom. He just goes on this. I don't want to paraphrase it. It's such a great, but that thing of like, no, I was.
Yeah.
I did it all.
I literally did it so much I'm exhausted. Like that's when you see like Mick Jagger. I saw him a couple times last year, the Stones, and one of the times was in Vegas, and my buddy Zach's old security guy is now their security guy. And at the end of the show, he was like, "Yeah, he's gonna go party till like 5 a.m."
Really?
And you're like, he's 82, and there's a 100-yard catwalk that he sprints up and down.
God, at 82.
At 82.
Jesus.
And then
No, but he doesn't really like. He'll go party, but he's not the
Like-
big drinker, drug guy, right?
I mean, he's having beers, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one time I was hanging out, I was doing a Kid Rock event, and I was staying at his place, and I walked out. It was a thing where like I went on at 4 and then he went on at 9, and it was like 4 minutes from his house.
Right.
So it was at this place called the Fontanelle, and I went and took a nap, and I come back out, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go out in the patio and smoke some weed. And he goes, oh, the Presleys are out there. And I go, I don't know who that is. And I just walked out there. And there's Lisa Marie and Priscilla. And I was like, oh, the Presleys. And I went out there, and, Lisa Marie was a bit of a mess, but Priscilla at 82 at the time had a beer in her hand the entire night, was never out of sorts, was always very pleasant.
Right.
I went to bed at 5 a.m. that night.
Yeah.
She was still up partying. At one point, this buddy of mine goes, I'm going to go hit on Priscilla Presley. And I was like, good luck with that. And it was literally me, him, and then her on the couch. And he leaned over. I don't know what he said to her. But I don't know what she said to him. But it was so just shut down. Then he went, I'm going to go talk to the granddaughter. Like, you can tell it just happened a million times. And she just
knew,
severed him.
Wow.
And I was like,
now, are those people just built different that they're still partying like that?
I mean, I
or
guess.
Or they just keep the stamina up because they just kept it up for so long. They just have a tolerance.
I think they just have a tolerance. I think but also when you have 500 mil in the bank, probably don't have to be up early the next day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't have to be up at all the next day.
No, so it's like we can be up till 5 and everything's fine.
Yeah.
My plane will still wait for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not getting, right. You don't have to get an Uber for the 6 a.m. pickup.
No.
Right.
It's like, oh, we're late, then we're late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pilot will wait.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, that is a different level. But man, it's so sad, but like the difference waking up, because I do have to wake up. I got a job. I got stuff to do. The difference between waking up from 2 beers to no beers.
Oh.
Huge.
And also, what's up with getting older and like, there'll be nights when I have 5 drinks, 5 tequilas. Yeah. Wake up the next day, feel amazing. Then there'll be a night I'll have 2 beers. Right. And the whole next day is ruined.
Yeah, just shot.
I'm like, where?
Yeah, because God forbid you had like a mini bag of Fritos also.
Yeah.
People are doing cocaine. You're eating Fritos.
You're like, I don't know, that acid reflux. I can't do the yayo anymore. I can't even do flaming hot.
All right, so just before we go, because it made me laugh so hard, no vegetables.
No vegetables.
Fish.
Oh, love fish.
You love fish.
Yeah.
All right.
I like to go to Maui, and when I'm in Maui, all I'll eat is seafood.
Really?
Because it's great because you go, where'd they catch this?
Yeah.
And they're like, over there.
Yeah.
Gary, the guy that caught it's at the bar, if you want to talk to him.
Yeah. When did they catch this? Like an hour ago?
Yeah, about an hour. Yeah, he just got here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so amazing.
So good. All right, that's good. That's surprising, Kansas.
Love sushi.
Love sushi.
As long as, nigiri, like fish on rice.
Right.
Love sugar fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as there's not avocado or in it or anything. Like I'll eat the seaweed wrap. I got no problem with that.
Right. Seaweed, yeah, it doesn't really that's a vegetable of the sea.
Yeah.
Who cooked when you had young parents?
Dad mainly, but Dad also traveled, so Mom also cooked.
Okay.
And
Why was he traveling?
Dad was in business. He was a salesman. And then became, we literally followed Dad up the corporate ladder,
right?
Basically,
right.
So, and he was very good at his job and made his way to executive vice president,
nice.
I think, but also was in the photo film industry. So, went from top of the pops to out of a job in like 18 months.
Whoa!
Like digital cameras they thought were going to take like 5 years.
Yeah.
And it literally took like 18 months.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So he climbed all the way.
Climbed all the way up.
Got to the top just as it was.
Just as it collapsed.
Wow.
And he was like, I knew I was effed because I was the guy that was firing everybody. And then all of a sudden I wasn't called into one of the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
And
man, that industry.
Yeah. And, it took him about a year and a half to get back on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and then he ran a company and then they sold it. So
nice.
then he got some money out of it, but yeah, just watch Dad. And now he's semi-retired, but that man will never quit.
Yeah,
he's always doing something. He's always got an iron in the fire.
Yeah, got that engine going.
Yeah, and it's good because when he's not bored, or when he's not doing that, he's bored, which means he's calling me all the time.
Right.
And then Mom retired, and then a month later was back to work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Just back, but mainly from home.
Yeah.
She's in insurance.
Okay.
And
you see him a lot?
See him. Depends on the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, I saw him a whole bunch,
yeah.
and then this year I'm not gonna get to see him as much just because of their schedule and my schedule.
Right.
Yeah. But yes, talk to him every day.
That's good.
Call him on the way to the gym.
Oh yeah.
And Dad puts Mom on speakerphone. It's usually right after dinner.
Is it getting goofy on the phone?
No, they're very with it.
That's good.
They're very good. They're very. Yeah, they're going to be around a while. Knock on wood.
That's good.
Mine
are getting a little goofy on the phone.
Yeah,
a lot of repeating.
Yeah,
a lot of saying things a couple times.
Okay.
A lot of what did you say?
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I'm just. I count my blessings. I'm just glad they're still around and they're still happy. And
that's good.
So yeah,
they like you. Do they think you're funny?
Yeah, they think I'm very funny.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
And at least they lie to me if they don't. So that's fine.
And they come to see you when they can get within
They'll
striking distance.
When I'm in town.
Yeah.
They're not driving to Omaha or anything.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
They'll come up north and see a show.
Right.
Or they came to Nashville to see the first Campfire Astronaut show. And
oh, cool. And when do you do that show? Is it?
That'll be Monday or that'll be Friday, June 30th in Kansas City at the Record Bar.
Okay.
And it's pretty much almost sold out already.
Wow,
so,
that's great.
That's really great.
And how often do you do it?
Well, it just depends on his schedule and my schedule. Really, it was. We did Nashville, and I was like, well, that was fun. We'll maybe do it again next year. And all of a sudden, Zach's on the phone with me, like, I'm off 2 weeks here. And I'm like, all right. So
he was into it too.
Yeah. So, and this will be the first time we were doing it at an actual like rock venue.
Yeah.
So it'll be like a proper music setup as opposed to walking into a comedy club and watching the sound guys head explode.
Right, exactly.
I've never had. I didn't even know why we had all these inputs.
Right. That's good. That's got to make you a little more nervous though, rolling into that.
I'm actually these shows are making me nervous. I'm actually like every day when I play guitar, I'm like trying to envision myself, and luckily it's a room I've been in.
Yeah.
So I can envision myself in the room.
Yeah.
And just kind of trying to prepare myself mentally.
Yeah. That is a big difference when you know the
Yeah.
spot.
because that's like, I remember when I used to get auditions, like you always try to envision what it was going to look like when you got in there, and it was always completely opposite. No matter, it's like it's going to be an office with a desk in front of me, and then you'd walk in and it was a conference room, and you're like, well, oh shit.
I mean, right, exactly. My head's spinning already.
Yeah. Which guy am I? I remember one time I was so off put by the situation that the next line was, "Are you all right?" And I just completely broke character. I was like, no, I'm fine. Do you want to start over? And he was like, no, that's the line.
Brutal. It's the worst. The name of the special again?
There's No Money in Babies.
Such a good. Where was the title at the end?
It was a line. Normally, you've done a million specials, as have I. The director always comes in with a title, and you're usually like, no.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, I know you don't want to hear them, but here's just some ideas for a title. And he came, and I don't even remember what I was going to call it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think I was going to call it 1942 because I started when I was 19 and I recorded it when I was 42. Yeah. But then he was like, there's no money in babies. And I was like, that's actually really good.
Right.
And then the more I thought about it, I was like, we should redo the Butcher album.
Right.
That Beatles record.
Yeah.
And got a photographer and a bunch of people on board and got it all set up, and it couldn't have come out better.
It looks great.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, we'll post it when this goes up for sure.
Oh, thanks, man.
This is bread. You eat bread.
I do eat bread.
Bread's good.
Okay.
All right. This is from my pals at Lodge Bread.
Oh, thank you.
And bring this over to your girlfriend's house. She'll
all right.
make her happy.
She can't eat gluten, so I'll just eat it in front of her.
Leave it in the car.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for doing this. This is great.
Thanks,
really,
man. I appreciate it.
We never really got a chance to spend time together and just running into each other on flights.
If you ever want to drink tequila,
really
I'm
awesome.
down.
All right, cool. There it is, kids. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Food, comedy. I don't know how much more we can do, Joey. We just keep serving up great people. He really made me laugh. Damn, he was funny. My book, again, We're All in This Together, so Make Some Room, is available for pre-order. So go check that out at tompapa.com. If you want to come see me live, we've got a whole bunch of tour dates up there. Again, we're going to be in Newark, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Detroit, San Francisco, St. Paul, Minnesota. Very excited. A lot of dates. We're going to be going pretty hard for the rest of the year. Maybe we'll downshift a little bit in the summer. I got to go to the beach at some point. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.